We're joined now by Democrat strategist Antjuan Seawright, who joins us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, it is extraordinary. This is the first time these two people have ever met, and there was absolutely no love lost whatsoever. I'm going to ask you a question. I have a funny feeling I already know the answer. Who do you think won?
Oh, I think Vice President Harris put on a masterclass. She went into this debate having to punch above her political weight, if you will. She went into this debate as the underdog. She went into this debate as someone who was this is her first presidential debate as a nominee for any major party for president. But she defied political gravity, defied political physics, and I think she did well. Republicans and Democrats agree on that.
There certainly seems to be a view among the Republicans that actually Donald Trump kind of let her shine more than many had expected. Because the expectations were very low. She's only done one sit-down interview. People barely know her, despite her being in that role as vice president for 3.5 years. She was rejected outright by the Democrats back in 2020 when she ran as a candidate for president herself. There's no question at all about that. But yeah, there's no doubt at all. Watching the debate, she performed much better than many people expected. But I've got to be honest with you, Antjuan, it was a low bar expecting someone who's vice president, who wants to be the president of the, and leader of the free world, to be able to stand up and argue her case.
Wait. So I think it's disrespectful for you to say it was a low bar. First of all, Donald Trump served in that office for 4 years. Yeah. 3 times he's been the Republican candidate for president. And people went into that debate thinking that he was the one trying to define this narrative about a low bar. What she has done throughout her political career is continue to prove her critics wrong. Now that she is our official nominee for president as the Democratic nominee, what she's doing is continue to introduce herself to the American people. We know racism, bigotry, hate, misogyny are all the things that exist when it comes to politics in this country.
I don't think that's why people don't rate Kamala Harris. Because they just don't think she's very good.
When it comes to a candidate like Kamala Harris, and I disagree strongly with your notion that she's not very good, because she's raised a record amount of money. We've seen the polls push in such a way that many people.
That's because Democrat supporters didn't give money to Biden for months because they knew he was a lost cause.
That's crazy as hell for you to say that. One, because many of her donors, I think 2/3 of them, are first-time donors who have not given in this presidential cycle.
No, people giving money doesn't mean they think she's good. It means they want her to win. That's not the same thing, Antjuan.
Well, why else would they give her money?
Because they don't like Trump and they want her to win.
Well, that's not true. They could give to a third-party candidate. So
no, because there isn't a third-party candidate that's a viable candidate anymore.
That doesn't mean that they have to give her money. So that's stupid for you to say that.
I really don't think it is. I think I know how American donors work. But listen, let's play some clips because I want to.
How can you tell me about donors in my country?
Because I've been a political journalist for many years and covered elections for many years. I'm not saying you know more. I'm just saying people giving money to a candidate doesn't mean that a candidate's a good candidate. It means that people want that candidate to win. Those are different things.
They do not have to give money to candidates.
They don't have to give money, no. But if they prefer her to Donald Trump, they'll give her money. Doesn't mean they think she's any good. No one in the Democrats thought she was any good in 2020, and no one thought she was any good until Joe Biden proved how hopeless he was at the last debate, and therefore they had no choice but to go with Kamala. So no one in the White House thought Kamala was up to it.
Well, that's stupid for you to say that. It's a different cycle.
I'd really appreciate it if you didn't keep saying everything I say is stupid. It's quite rude.
Well, I think it's rude for you to make the assumptions about Kamala Harris and about
I'm not making assumptions about her. I'm judging her on her record and what she said.
Because you have no fact. You have no fact to back up what you're saying. I do have fact.
I know for a fact.
So you telling me you've asked every donor in the United States of America why they're giving her money? You have not.
Okay, let's just agree I'm stupid. Let's get to some clips. Right. Okay, let's get to clips.
Thank you.
This has been. Yeah. Fine. So let's get to a clip. Now, this has been the big talking point. This is classic Donald Trump. And this is what he had to say about talking about immigration, one of the 2 key issues in the election. And this is when he talked about Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. Here's what he had to say.
In Springfield, They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Now, the moderators made very clear there is no evidence for this. This has been a claim that's been made by some people, but there is no evidence for this. But what I thought was really interesting, Antjuan, was the reaction from Kamala Harris there. The microphones are off when the other person's speaking. But, I mean, her face was a picture. I mean, she had definitely rehearsed a lot of those facial expressions, and they did the job.
How can you say that? Were you in debate rehearsal with her? No, you were not. The fact of the matter is, when someone is destroying themselves, you allow them to do that. That's what an experienced prosecutor would do, and that's what a prepared candidate would do.
Oh, so she prepared. How do you know what was happening in the rehearsal room, Antjuan?
Oh, because I've spoken directly with her advisors who helped her prep.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, God forbid, you must know everything. Let's also talk. Let's have a clip of Kamala Harris.
While you continue to stutter,
could we try and say, Antjuan? Could we try and stay on the substance? Because my audience would love to know a bit more about what actually happened in the debate. Would that be okay? Let's have a clip of Kamala Harris. Now, this is a big issue where she's appealing to women voters, and we know on abortion. Now, we know this has been a massive dividing line in American politics for years, and it's actually a big vote loser for Republicans, interestingly, and since that change in abortion law to make it a state issue rather than a federal controlled issue. Here's what Kamala Harris had to say on abortion.
Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
Now, that's a really key vote winner for Democrats, and I think for a lot of floating voters as well, Antjuan Seawright. How big an issue is that going to be, do you think, on Election Day in November?
Going to be a tremendous issue. It has been an issue since Trump extremist court has overturned decades of precedent in this country. That's why the Democrats continue to see the gender gap perform the way it is, and that's why we continue to win elections, because Republicans are unserious about many issues, including a woman being able to make her own healthcare decisions.
Yeah, I mean, let's also get to a clip of Donald Trump talking about Kamala's beliefs, where she's actually coming from. And this was something he actually talked about a lot in his closing remarks as well, that, you know, anything that Kamala Harris says she wants to do, well, you know, she's been in power for 3.5 years. And, you know, if she believed this stuff, she would do it. But here's what he had to say about Kamala's real beliefs in his view.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have, and she has, destroyed our country with policy that's insane.
Now, it was fairly rambling of Donald Trump there, but how damaging do you think that accusation is about her being a Marxist, about being a radical, and her true beliefs, what she really wants to do if she were president?
Well, the message of fear and fraud and fake news, the American people see right through that, and they're going to demonstrate that at the polls in November. That message, that old message that the Republicans continue to try to implement cycle after cycle, does not work in 2024, because people care about substance. They care about the issues, and they care about someone who actually has a plan for the everyday quality of life. Donald Trump clearly demonstrated last night he does not have any of that. And so that's why you see the tectonic plates shifting the way they are in this country.
And in terms of what you think the outcome's going to be in November, the polls are still incredibly close. Kamala had a big boost when she was first out, you know, the Democrat National Convention. And then, you know, it hasn't continued as much. Where do you think it's going to go? Because a race within the margin of error, too close to call in most of the key swing states.
Well, America's always a 50-50 jump ball. It's going to be a race that's won on the margins. Elections are about coalitions and constituencies. I think the difference between Trump and Harris is the fact that she still has room to grow. And arguably, he has hit his peak. And after that debate performance last night, I do believe that independent voters are going to start to weigh in a different way, and I don't think they're going to weigh in towards Donald Trump.
Yeah. I mean, again, I'm thinking of Donald Trump. You kind of, you know him, you know he was president. They know what they're going to get. You either support him or you don't at this point. They say it's the floating voters who get to have the final say. You think that she did enough to sort of basically calm some of those concerns that floating voters and many Democrats might have had, that we haven't seen the proper interview with her, that the interview she did was so soft soaping that she did do with CNN, that we haven't actually seen whether she can actually hold her own, and that she did enough yesterday to assuage people.
Let me share one thing with you. She's done 80 interviews this year as Vice President of the United States. So this idea she can't do interviews is a false notion.
Very different when you're running on your own platform.
I think she has to continue to introduce herself to the American people as a candidate for the president. I think she's done that. She's done more than one interview. She's done a series of radio interviews around the country that are airing here in the United States, and people are getting to know her. And as they get to know her, they certainly are yielding their support to her.
Yeah, although still neck and neck in the polls. So again, if Donald Trump is so awful, and a lot of us do think that, how come she's not way ahead in the polls?
Because America is always a 50-50 jump ball when it comes to presidential election. No election in modern lifetime has been a complete wipeout, because different strokes for different folks. Elections, again, are about coalitions and constituencies. This race will ultimately come down, by and large, to 7 states, and it's going to be a tough race. We knew this coming into this race, that she was going to be the underdog. So that's not news to anyone who knows American politics.
All right. Antjuan Seawright, really appreciate you joining us. Democrat Strategist, also CEO of Blueprint Strategy, a political consultancy and PR company.